In this video, I'm going to talk about composing tracks as opposed to just winging it and just making something every time. People who make electronic music don't usually use the word composing. It's kind of a traditional, formal word. It's not the best word. I normally now say making music making. But I'm using it now because of the formality that it kind of represents. Could be a good thing to try doing. If you find that you're getting into making very short loops and they're not developing into pieces, this is what I keep coming back to on this channel, in my music. What are my favorite pieces of music in electronic music? The Aphex tracks, the Square Pusher tracks, the Bogdan Raczynski tracks, the Otekra tracks. They are compositions more than just pieces of music, in the sense they have structure and melodies, and it's the melody that really brings you back again and again and again, I feel, in most kinds of music. If you're just really focused on making, say, techno music that's going to be played in clubs, that is primarily for people to dance to, then it is a little bit different. Although look at the biggest techno smash of all time, The Bells by Jeff Mills. Well, like when I was clubbing in the 90s, it never was not played, to the point where me and my friends were groaning when it came on, like, because what we wanted to hear was something we'd never heard before. That was what we looked for in a DJ in a night, something like where you look around and what's going on, just something incredible happening. And that was techno in the heyday of techno. It was like going to a club and being just like transported to another realm. But if a DJ plays a very predictable track that is played every single set, every single night, it's like it's too easy. It's not. That's what we thought of Bells. But to come back to the point, why was the Bells so popular? Because of the melody. It's got a great catchy dun, 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 that little hook in it, and the production and the beats and everything like that, like the combination of everything. But Drome by Joey Beltram tracks. It's the combination of the production and the melody, the hook. The timbre of techno tracks is super important. Not just techno, any club music. The timbre is what's hard about making it. You just like open up Ableton, I'll slap out a club hit and use like the stock Ableton sounds and bounce it out. It's not going to be it's not going to have the timbre of club music. It's difficult to make that kind of music because it takes a long time to get your ears accustomed. You don't need to have anything other than a computer. There's like amazing producers who just use a laptop, like Actress. But it's like you're going to have to spend a long time on the sound design and getting it to sound a certain way. So in the end, it comes down to the time you put into it and your ears developing and all the rest. So say you're making a track that is not designed solely for the dance floor, but it is for someone to listen to. it's not mutually exclusive. My favorite music probably of all time is the music that you could play it in the club and dance to it, and it works as a listening track of both. Which, by the way, there's like a lot of music in the world like that, like Cuban music. You know, what jazz used to be dance music in the early days of jazz. A lot of all the South American music, African music, all of that, most world music is dance music for dancing to, flamenco, and amazing to listen to, which is kind of interesting. If you sit down, if your intention is to make a track that is more like structured with sections and a melody and whatnot, then it might be good to approach it this way instead of make a bar. When this is not just in electronic music, in all music, when people compose music, sometimes they do it this way. They create one bar or two bars of music, a little tiny bit, and then they try and add on a tiny bit, and then they try and add on a tiny bit, another bar, and it's really hard to do it that way. Eventually you get like maybe 8 bars in, and then you go, oh, well, I repeat that, and then you're 16 bars, and then what'll I do? You keep trying to add on to the end of the bit you just made and reach like a 5-minute piece of music. That's what I used to do. Didn't really work very well for me, and it's not really how music works, which I think is the problem. One time I had a composition class. The class was in choosing a structure and composing into the structure. So in jazz, there's a lot of structures, but some of them are very popular, like AABA, where you have an 8-bar A section and that's repeated, and then a different 8-bar B section, and then the 8-bar A section comes back. So AABA. Or you could have a different section at the end, so AABC, or you could have ABCD sometimes, or, you know, it's most jazz standards, I would say, are 32 bars long with 4 8-bar sections, but there's many different ways of arranging it within that. And then there's other variations and other lengths and blues and 12 bars and 16 bars, and there's all those variations, but usually it's 8-bar sections, and usually there's 4 of them. Okay, so in electronic music, that's never something anyone learns about or talks about. And I have been analyzing tracks to see if there's any structure in there, and sometimes there is and sometimes there isn't. Square Pusher, he was someone who played a lot of music, a lot of jazz and soul and funk stuff, so I think the structuring of the music that he was playing does go into his music to some extent, and you can hear the kind of 8-bar, 8-bar, 8-bar. It's not like a 32-bar form often, but there is structure there, like in Planetarium or in some of the tracks. It definitely is structure there, like some kind of song structure. So here's the idea that you can use in your track. Take a structure first, and then lay out the structure before you start making your track. And then when you populate the structure with your ideas, you'll fill it from the outside in. Does that make sense? What I mean by that is it will have the idea of the start, middle, and end, how long it is, how many bars, and you will then keep working towards making all those parts good, instead of being like, here's the 4-bar loops, now what's next? Okay, let's have a look on the computer and see if I can demonstrate this. Okay, so here we have a blank project. I'm gonna populate the arrangement with a structure. Let's say I'm gonna have this 8 bars here, but we'll do AABA, even though it's not common. We'll make the B a different color. and the A again here. I'm going to choose the tempo. I'm going to say, I'm going to do a techno E133. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to make this repeat 3 times. Now, how long will my track be? It will be, okay, 2 minutes 53. So that's a good length for kind of listening track. 3 times through an AABA structure. Okay, so let's say this is going to be drums. Well, we won't populate anything yet. We'll say this is going to be drums. There'll be a lot more variation. All the green parts won't be exactly the same. This is just the rough outline. And then here we'll have a bass, and then we'll have, then we'll have a synth, and then we'll have keys, synth lead, I mean. So drums, bass, synth lead, keys, and one more instrument. We'll have a synth like guitar sound, plucky synth. Okay, so here we'll make the parts different color. This one's not good. Wow, my color scheme is incredibly bad, but doesn't matter. It's just for demonstration purposes. Let's just use this so we can see it's different. So everything doesn't look exactly the same. We're going to have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Now we're going to add in an intro. 4-bar intro with drums, bass, and keys. And then we're also going to add an outro. And we could add that in the middle as well if we wanted, in between. Forms, or we could add it just one time. Here might be interesting, might be good. I just had that idea that we'll go back to we might elongate it at the end. Okay, so now that form of this is taking shape, but we're not going to go straight in with the lead sound. The first 32 bars, actually, there won't be any lead. And the keys will come in. We could actually just bring the lead in the last one. And we could bring this in second. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Now I'm pretty happy with that. I'd be pretty excited to see what this would sound like if I filled in all these parts. I haven't even thought about the chords and melodies and all of that, the beats, but I can see the journey of this piece, the structure, the composition. This is how you compose before you start something. Okay, so let's see. It's now 3 minutes 29. Well, I put an extra bit on there, so it's really 3 322. Perfect. And today's the 22 of the 2. A lot of 2s. I like 2s. Okay, here we go. That's it.